mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z.
Once again, this broadcast has been brought to you by mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z, where reading funds the mental. Also brought to you by bindedbooks.com, where treasures are bound. Be sure to get all of your teas at My Son's Teas, the tea of teas, divinely prepared at herbsofmyaunt.com. Be sure to check out all of those musical stylings by Brian Hicks Spade at bhspademusic.com. For your everyday items and religious regalia, be sure to check out morrishaberdasher.com. And for that everyday especial Morris drip, be sure to check out morsachi.com. And all of these companies are powered by ALO Design Pros. Design your online business strategy today.
No such thing as failure, baby. Don't forget who made you. You can't be thinking minor when you need to be thinking major. They made you think they saved you, but big. I want love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice at least. I need it for all my peace because it just isn't me. Unbuckle the shackles up off your mind, you just been released. How can I get you to save yourself if I can't get you to think? If wisdom is water, the water is well, but how can I get you to drink? We've been hoodwinked and blinded, kinda hard to get you to sleep. Cause I am not this world and I can't offer you glittery things. I don't have enough dollars to make you quit on your dreams. I can't give you trinkets attached to bills and pull them in strings.
mypdfbooks.com. That's books with a Z.
Look here, before they give they naysay on the things they say you can't think, and on the ways they say you can't play this economic game unless it's about the rules that they made. Haha, here's the funny thing, what you have yet to understand. They're terrified, honestly, they know your royalty and you'll be running this world someday. You got a lot on your lunch plate, I just need you to stay educated. You ain't no different from your classmates, but I just know what you can do when you dedicated. I can tell the way your head shake, that bit full of dreams and you better chase it. What if I said life is just one big field trip, and you the driver, my little nigga, choose your destination. I just want you to think about it, wrap your mind around it. Do you hear what I'm saying? I just want you to think about it, wrap your mind around it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Last but not least, my little love, here's these words for you. Nothing on earth could compare to the work for you. I'm up all night and all day doing work for you. I never knew love to be pure and so absolute. You are the future makers of great men. No need to rush it right now, it's a lot to take in. Trying to make it in the mix, what a tricks are for kids who come from broken homes and they only want to fix. Doing good for yourself was your one and only wish. I know you got dreams, though they say they don't exist. They just want to stop you cause they see you on a mission. Only tip I could give you, watch what niggas you be kissing. Everybody don't love you, baby, everybody different. And what you be doing ain't everybody business. Very good women getting rarer by the minute. You the last of what's left, don't let nobody trick you. I just want you to think about it, wrap your mind around it. Do you hear what I'm saying? I just want you to think about it, wrap your mind around it. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Peace, 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 peace. Greetings. Happy Holy Friday. We back again with another BBT book club reading. I'm your host, Noble Moso L. Peace to all the nobles and empresses that could tap in. Peace, Noble Dre Sean. Peace, Sheep. And all the Burning Bush Tabernacle, Science Temple and School, Brotherhood and Sisterhood. Hope everybody's been having a great week and into your weekend. As we know, it's spring, so we should all be spring cleaning and getting into this real new year with all the changes and growth and new sources of income, new streams of income. Continue to dive into our passions and our talents, and maybe even getting new skills if those are necessary to get to that next level. That's what we all about at the Burning Bush Tabernacle and the BBT Book Club. So helping brothers, helping sisters, helping all people of all ages get to a higher level, higher consciousness, higher understanding of all the biblical scriptures, all historical information. That's what we're really here to do, is educate, dialogue, dissect different topics and different books. And as we know, being Moors, we should have this document you see on the screen, which is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali. This is, a part of the 101s. And as we know, it's Holy Friday for all Muslims and Moors. And this is definitely a book I feel, people of all Islamic studies should have and understand. Because as Moors, we're Sufis, and we study all the different texts of Islam, whether it be the Quran, the Circle 7 Quran, the Hadiths, the 99 names of Allah, so on and so forth. There's so much esoteric and exoteric wisdom in all religions, all spiritual systems. It's just some people decide to choose a side as opposed to merging them all, as Sufism does, and getting a complete understanding. So as you know, or if you don't, these are books we offer in our school and in our book club. I offer these personally. You can see my email right here on the bottom. Email me at herbsofmayat@herbsofmayat.com. I'd be glad to get anyone a copy of this document. This is a prerequisite that we all should have and study. It's a very small and short book, but it has tons of science in it and exoteric and esoteric wisdom, Masonic knowledge. As it says on the cover, it was divinely prepared. That's different from something written by someone word for word. This was a document put together for the salvation of quote unquote black men and women in America. This book was created in the 1900s, 1920s. So, this is, Noble Drew Ali. He is one of many Moorish brothers who came to help our people get out of, the 3/5 Negro status, the Negro mentality, the Negro status on paper. And, he told us to proclaim our nationality. It's nothing radical or extreme about proclaiming your nationality. Even dogs have nationalities. Shepherds aren't just shepherds, they're German shepherds. Bulldogs aren't just bulldogs, they're British bulldogs. They're Yorkshire terriers. And we understand our lineage as Moors. We're Moorish Americans. Moorish descent is all around the world. America is the land that we all were birthed. And this is what we claim and understand wholeheartedly with love. But after love has to come the truth. So it's time to understand more of the truth of heritage and history. You know, the United States had many people in enslavement, prisoners of war. And there's so much history that the Moorish Quran sparks for me to study myself, because the beginning of the Moorish Quran is talking about some real history. And I'll just read it real quick for y'all. Just a little. As you can see, the 7 with the 4 axes. And this book was, it says, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. And this is a topic we talk about in class a lot, you know. It says, to redeem man, which is us, from our sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane. Not a medium plane, not a high plane, but the highest. Because as we know, Nova Drew Ali, one of the terms he called us was a pure nation, which all nations are before they're corrupted or colonized or indoctrinated into another people's culture, which is what enslavement did to the Moorish American. Oh, this is a few of the chapters, but I just wanted to touch on the beginning. As you can see, it's a lot of chapters on different biblical personages. The missing years of Jesus is what this book holds. Those years that they say he walked and taught and traveled. This book breaks that down into details, into scripture, into spiritual and physical lessons for us to learn from. But like I said, it starts off with a history, genealogy. It says the genealogy of Yeshua, with 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all of those who love Yeshua and desire to know about his life works and teachings. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Yeshua. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons, you can set your house in order, and your children will learn to love instead of hate. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. As I am a prophet, and the servant is worthy of his hire. You can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, Palestine all kept these secrets back from the outside world, and when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. And for the first time in ages, I have these secrets. Excuse me. Peace, Noble. I have these secrets. Excuse me.
Please, can you hear me?
Yeah. Your service was going in and out, I think, but yeah, I hear you now.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Just going over a little bit of, the 101 document and book everybody should have.
Absolutely, brother.
Where was I? It says, the reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. And for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. So it's a lot of science in every part of this book, from the pictures, from the the page numbers. There's a lot of numerology, esoteric science. But this is the part that stood out to me when I always read it. It talks about the industrious acts of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Moabites, the Hamites, the Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle in that portion of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms called this day Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli. And anyone who knows a little history, those are all, quote unquote, the Barbary states of North Africa, where the Barbary Wars went down between the young United States of American military and the Moorish corsairs, the Moorish pirates, as they called them. This spiritual wisdom is directly connected to real history. And that's the genius of Noble Drew Ali. He wanted us to get a full understanding of both. As sheiks, you always say, a lot of our historians, they have this knowledge, but they don't teach it. And they have their reasons why they don't teach it, or their oaths that they take for those reasons. But this isn't secret information. This is world history, the missing pages of world history, of quote unquote Black history. But as we know, Black only is a box that they put us in historically, because you can't put these words retroactively onto people, because people had different names. Abyssinian, Moor, Mauritanian, these are all lands, countries that people lived in and migrated from. So we really encourage y'all to, get this book from us. This is the Moorish Circle 7 Quran. It's about only, how many pages? This book's about 70 something pages. Not even, about 60 pages. You could read this book. It's not a book you read through fast and try to get through. This is something you read slowly. If you want to come to our classes on Saturdays and Sundays, we break down the meanings of every sentence. This is a book that every holy man and woman should have to to be better, to get a better understanding of life, creation, Jesus, Yeshua, and all his trials and tribulations. Because as we know, the Bible is just lessons of people who lived that we should learn from. That's what I've gathered biblically. It's like you should learn from all the different characters, male or female. It's so many lessons within all spiritual texts, but definitely the Bible. So that's not the Bible and the Moorish Quran go together if you're a serious student. And another book I wanted to highlight, one of my personal favorites, is this one, The Golden Age of the Moors. We offer this one. It's by Ivan van Sertima, a must-have. Golden Age of the Moors. Check how much this book is on Amazon. It's in the 500s. So it fluctuates, but it's definitely a book you can get from us for very cheaper. A fraction of the cost, and it's a rare book. But it breaks down the race and the origins of the Moors. It breaks down the Moor in Africa and Europe, origins and definitions. Breaks down the Moor in Europe, the Moor's influence and his contributions, the Moors in antiquity, the empire of the Moors, an outline based on interview and summary of John G. Jackson, another great scholar. It goes into the African heritage and the ethno-history of the Moors, background to the emergence of early Berber and Arab peoples, from prehistoric to the Islamic dynasties. This is only the first 80 pages. Some of the other chapters talk about the Moor, the light of Europe's dark age. Because as we know, the Moors civilized Europe. They brought cleaning products. They brought fresh food and fruit to Europe. And that was why one of the many reasons we were heralded and put on coat of arms. And I mean, a person would just slow down and look at coat of arms and just think, why would they take that much time to put an image of a Moorish man or woman on there? It had to be a significant reason. Just like they put people on money today in coins. Those people had to be very significant to the society and the culture, not just a mascot or a token per se. So the Moorish history is definitely worth studying, from a place of love and understanding world history, not always trying to put the word black on something or take somebody's culture or say someone's not the original and all that type of. You shouldn't go into your studies thinking with those type of thoughts. Just look for yourself in the story and look for your lessons that you can learn, and study your family coat of arms, study your family last names, as we always say at the BBT. A simple Google search, you in coat of arms, you'd be surprised what you find linked to your name and some information. We help brothers do that as well because we're all historians of our own families. And a lot of times in American history, we all get brushed under the same historical story and tales, and that's just not the truth. Everyone's family has a unique lineage and story to tell. It's just like, will you take the time to study it and ask elders in the family or study the etymology of your different family names? And that's something we love to do and take serious at our book club and our school. And the book continues talking about even Moors and music, the music of the Moors in Spain. I don't know if y'all familiar with the flamenca dance, where the woman's dancing with the rose, and a man doing all these different fast moves. A lot of these dances come from these time periods. You know, the Moors were great guitar players, and if you ever been to West Africa, them brothers play them instruments that they create with their bare hands. Them brothers make drums from trees that were right in their front yard, literally right in their neighborhood. So the ingenuity of our people is something that could never be taken from us, no matter what trials and tribulations you identify with. But this history of the Moors is definitely something all people of quote unquote color should understand, because these people would be classified as black in American society unless they proclaim their nationality. But because of the wars and battles these people lost, they were labeled Negro. They were labeled different derogatory terms. And those terms eventually became the norm, sadly. And it's up to us to, you know, get back to the roots, get back to our origins of who we were and the names we called ourselves. Not get caught in color and what your city or state may want to call you. You know, understanding your nationality is a serious matter. But like I said, this book right here goes into a lot of chapters. The more, like I said, I'm not gonna go through all of it, but this image on the cover, I'll show y'all this and blow it up. It's a very important image. This is the African general Boabdil. This is when he surrendered the keys of Moorish Spain or Granada in 1492. He gave the keys, and it said that he was crying to his mother because he had to give up the keys to such a beautiful land and territory, Al Andalusia in Spain. But this was one of the critical time periods where, you know, black people, Moorish people were, you know, knocked out of power and discombobulated. They were sent out of the country, literally. You had a one-way ticket and you had to leave Spain. So, I mean, it was a lot of trauma that our Moorish ancestors went through. Forced conversions. You know, this book talks about a lot about that.
Hey, Moso.
You know. Mm-hmm.
It's just like when we talk about the Spanish Inquisition, and then we talk about if the Moors ruled Spain, or let me reverse. If the Jews ruled Spain, who were the Jews?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
right?
And so, right. And then, and like you were saying, what happened? You know, so it has to be told the right ways. You know, and it's coming from and I just like to say, coming from our own perspective as, you know, I say those that don't identify as more but colorful. Let's put it like that. When we say colorful, when we bring information, our people have to be willing to accept the information of themselves and love themselves and be proud of who they are. Because me and my mom was just talking about it. Nobody is going to pay you or give you no type of money to teach your people. That has to be something that need to be done collectively, and from understanding, we're organizing under the status of tax exempt status, and understanding that what we can do in the community, especially with the mothers, you know, that have the babies. Like, that's one of the biggest things that I always like to say, because if the Moors ruled Spain, and we talk about all this education, and the first universities were in Salamanca in Spain and all this, and then in Timbuktu, then that mean if when people said they had this and we had this, we had these education, then you saying that we community wise done this. We didn't say it was sponsored by no organization where you got to give up ownership and you got stakeholders. We want none of that. The people put in that man work and put in them hours, and communities came together and that's what I say make nations. And I think we have to get back to that. And I don't want to get too far off topic, but I like to say this last part. You know, here at the BBT, man, we like to be, I say, solution driven. Like right now, all the stuff going on with politics and everybody saying what Trump going to do education and all this, and he's going to end education and all that. And I say, okay, then we should be prepared because we should be set up. Why? We got all these schools, all these churches, all these people with these education. That shouldn't be no problem. You know? And I just wanted to leave it like that. If we were doing these things then, I always continue to say we have digressed, you know? And look how far we've fallen. When people say, well, what happened? Look at it. Look how easy today a person can be overtook. Somebody can come to you, hey man, I'll give you a couple of dollars. Hey man, sell this person out for this. Easy. It's no community, it's no brotherhood, it's no honor. And that's what's really missed. So gratitude for that moment.
Indeed, Noble. No, you're right. You're right. That's a key part of it as well. It's not, once you learn all this history, then part of your responsibility is how can you do your part to get back to it.
Yeah, and that's why I honor a lot of lady or Empress organizations. You know, not to say we don't do things, but I say a lot of times, man, Empresses come together more and be community. They be looking for a community, and I say that's what we got to get back to, community. But also, as we know, as we proceed, a lot of mental health has to be addressed as well. You know what I mean, Mozo?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
Especially with a lot of these Moors that come into this with a pretense of this or criminal behaviors or thinking this is a get out of jail free card or to get into this and maybe not handle some of the things that they needed to handle and other things can be stumbling blocks and things. So all those dynamics, I think that's like we say, more sciences for the family. What? Admitting that things need to be changed or admitting that, hey, you need to change the way you live it. You know what I mean? Add value to. And that's what we always talking about, standing on your square. Standing on your square ain't standing with your feet wide open and quoting a whole bunch of stupid stuff like you some goofy secret society. That's just some internet TV mumbo jumbo stuff, some sovereign citizen Roger Elvick stuff. That's what that is. So yeah, man, gratitude, Moso.
Yes, Mom, no, definitely. It's up to the people who are in the community to do these things, not just learn about it and tuck it away in your pocket or put it in your library. This can be functional information that you can apply to your life immediately.
It's just too many
other
brothers.
Books I recommend?
Oh, go ahead, Noble. I'm here. No, nothing. I was listening. Go ahead, Noble.
No, I got this other book right here. It's one of the older books you gave us, but it's a great one. It's called Turks, Moors, and Moriscos in Early America. And it's by the Roots of Islam in America, the Nawawi Foundation series. Talks about Sir Francis Drake's liberated galley slaves and the lost colony of Roanoke. And, I like the information that, highlights the Islamic influences and the Islamic presence in the Americas, because that's a type of history we weren't taught, because we were raised in a predominantly Christian nation. And until the internet and a lot of information started to come out, we didn't really know. We didn't really understand the Islamic heritage of America.
Because you know what, most of them, because when they start saying Islamic part of America, what's that instantly gonna do? It's gonna instantly start connecting a so-called, let's put it like this, color. You know what I mean? It's gonna start. It's gonna make the student ask too many questions, because Islamic, the first thing you think, you got to be a brother. I'm just saying it in layman terms, because the first thing in your mind, you don't get no European, no Albion, no trailer-dyke Islamic brother. You know what I mean? Right. So that will raise too many eyebrows. you know. And then when you say Islamic, which was the thought of education, when you see Alexander the Greek and all them, when they came to Egypt, they wanted to be pharaohs and things. But when you really look at it, Maso, you be like, wait a minute, man. It's all here. Yeah. No, you know what I mean? No need to be biased or nothing. All you need to do is start looking at it, you know, with just a clear eye and be like, wait a minute. Okay, so Islamic study, then you start looking at it from a certain part of area, then you start seeing all the great travelers. Then you start seeing all those boats and things, which I gave you a document of the European professor telling you that the Moors traveled over here, Maury and all this in Africa. But really, what it connects you is to Ibn Battuta. I think I sent y'all the book, you know?
Yeah.
And you're gonna the Islamic scholar. And then you're gonna start reading about Taharqa. You're gonna be like, wait a minute. It's gonna start connecting too many questions. I mean, it's gonna start have the student ask questions. So that's what this does, you know, Islam.
Like you said, there's so many artifacts from Egypt, from Islamic cultures who've left their mark in stone in the Americas. I mean, it's a lot of scholars who've proven that. Barry Fell, you know, we have his books.
Yeah.
There's so many scholarship to debunk, you know, the lies for sure. It's just that you mature enough to embrace it and, you know, use it accordingly. And I said this book is a great one because it, you know, just highlights the different names of the Moorish people: Turks, Moors, and Moriscos. Those are three terms for the same person.
Yep.
You know,
see, now you teach it, and then you can get into the Thomas Jefferson Quran, and you can get it. They'll call you a Corsica, a Berber, a pirate, and so now let's do a fact check real fast because we just did this. A Berber, they'll try to say European colonize, and try to say barbarian, but you know, Berber is synonymous to freeman, you know. So it's our connect, which is an Amazigian. So you go say an Amazigian is a freeman, is a Moor. It just start connecting so many dots, you know what I mean, and be like it's just overwhelming proof, you know,
right,
of what it is and what it's not, you know. It's almost like Hansel and Gretel. The breadcrumbs is there, you know. It's like you don't have to look too hard. If you're a scholar and you don't have any prejudice in your heart, we're going to come to the same conclusion. Now, I'm okay with it, like me and my dad always talk about. And one of my professors is this prejudiced professor. This is what he said in his oral dissertation. I was doing my oral dissertation, and he said, Mr. Goodman Bay, he said, even though you came with all the peer-reviewed scholarship that no one can deny, he said, I'm still saying they white. Man, I bust out laughing. You hear me? And you can tell me and my dad laugh. I told my dad, man, we cracked up about it. Cause see, I can crack up about it when I know, excuse my candor, you don't know what the hell you talk about. I can deal with your biasness because you ain't gonna put your hands on me. I know I want to know how a person dealing. You know what I mean? And I respect that. You see what I'm saying? Because I know how to deal with you. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm with the SHIT too. I can play semantics. I'm with it. I know what creed you under. I know exactly what creed you under. So if I know what creed you under, Moso, I'm gonna whoop you with what? Your own stuff. It's just like if I love chess, right? And I'll come home every day and I'll be like, Dad, this dude playing chess and he whooping me. And my dad say, okay, I'm gonna sit on the side, let me see how are you playing. And and my dad laughing because he cheated me, you know. And I don't know, I can't play, but I'm not coming to get no lessons. He whooping me. And then my dad like, well, I'm gonna train you. I go, instead of me coming home crying, I learn up because this is what I love to do. And I come back and I whoop the court jesters. But court jesters can't mess with a guy. A person dressed up with a fez on or what? A stupid person can't play smart, Moso.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying, the importance of detail of what we're doing, you know, if it makes sense what I'm saying.
And like you were saying, like just studying the etymology of the words, you know, you can't be led astray if you understand the meaning of all the words you're using. I think it was a disconnect with so many words. we start using that we don't know the origins, the original meaning to.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, man. Yep. You're right, Noble.
But this is part of, like you said, this is part of scholarship and studying your heritage. I think sadly, a lot of people get caught up in the trauma loop of the slave narrative, and they're always playing the victim. Not saying that nothing didn't happen like that to a certain amount of people, but we have way much greater history than that moment in history.
I would love Moso to have a series where you know what, just a series. Since it's book club, we always freestyle when things be on our mind. Just to clear that whole perspective up. Just to put a real microscope on what people think the transatlantic slave trade is and what it's not. 1619 theory and all that, and really show people who were here and all that in Jamestown and all this and the Willie Lynch wasn't real and how a lot of professors, and this is the thing, and I got to go back to this as we proceed, Mo. So all my years of academia, I just was heartbroken over the European professors, Albion, Trelodike, Jews, whatever you want to call them, that knew the history, and the misnomer black professors did not know the history. I thought I was in a bad dream. Like I'm like, is this real? I used to tell my dad, like, Dad, this is crazy, because I met a misnomer black professor that taught African American studies, and he had his it was what do you call it? It would require reading to damn read the Willie Lynch before you take her class.
Oh, wow.
And so I did a lecture, and my professor had me do an oral lecture. He was like, would you want to speak on this to the students coming in? I said, yes. I came with the peer-reviewed scholarship book. The professor quit.
Wow.
And then, she made it require read for anybody to take her class to read some Willie Lynch. And I'm like, Willie Lynch ain't even real. And my professor was like, if you can prove it, which I know you can, come with it. He's like, no, that's what we're here for, Mm-hmm. But he said, he was like, make sure it's right. Man, I came there, boom, 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 took me 30 minutes, done. Everybody looking at her like, well, why are you making all us read this stuff that ain't even real? Couldn't say nothing. You hear me, Moso? Nothing.
Wow.
So that's the importance of what I keep saying. Our people have to support what we're doing to where we can stand strong when nobody can say this because they got a whole bunch of letters behind their name with this or that. No, it ain't, because you say we don't deal with that linguistic apartheid. We're going to say, woe to you, like the scripture say, lying lawyers or teachers or whoever have a perspective that's not willing to educate the right way with the proof, and that's all. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah, Noble. That's definitely what we strive to continue to do, because it needs to be done. I mean, this needs to be taught. This is common history. This isn't secret. This is
no secret.
The missing pages of world history.
Yep, no secret at all. And our door is open. Like I said, we don't have to be, like you said, we don't have to be complaining or mad with nobody other big establishments. We can be just as big and magnanimous as anything else, but be doing it in the right way.
Right. Definitely. That's like you said. That's why we invite people to come to our classes every weekend. We have these classes every weekend, book club every Friday, and we're going to continue to be doing this. It's for the serious people who want to connect with us and get books, get literature, get regalia. I mean, we're a one-stop shop for a lot of business solutions.
You know what, Moso?
What?
And what's really, I think, disheartening and what our people really have to come to an understand of loving themselves too, because I think, when you hear a lot of these pro-black or whatever other people, they always talk about the Moors killed black people or the Moors killed the you've heard that, Moso?
Definitely.
And it's a lack. And I just wanted to say this because I had this conversation with so many European students, and they was like, "You don't think African American students know what you're saying?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Absolutely not." Okay, the aspect when they talk about the Moors killed the Africans or the black people, and then they don't even know who Leopold is. You hear me?
Yeah.
What Leopold did and dressed them in that regalia and the feds, how he was chopping their hands off. So
Right.
here it is, Belgium finance you millions of dollars to come kill the black gold, oil, and do all this, and you use them, you put the feds on them. Either you're gonna kill them all, or fight against them, or die, or roll with it. And the feds was part of his uniform. Now what we gotta
Just
say?
military dress,
Yeah.
right?
Same thing with Hitler. If I show you Hitler, look at all the ones that was under Islamic studies under Hitler. Where the feds too.
Yeah.
All you gotta do, I got all the pictures. I sent them to you. What can a person say? They were the feds. Now what? Oh, well. No, what we do, like me and my dad always talk about, signs and symbols. Most misnumbered black people elect something that they have no understanding, and they arbitrarily make up the meaning of it. And you can't do that, you know?
Right.
Oh, I saw them African dressed up with the feds on over there. Yeah, under Leopold. Just like Belgium when they assassinated Patrice Lumumba. You see what happened? That when you research the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, who got him assassinated? His own people.
Right.
They promised some of his generals money. They're like, oh, we gonna get him? What we talking about?
Right.
So that's just the backdrop of that. When I feel we don't love ourselves, when a lot of misnomer black people, the Moors did this and the Moors did this, and I say, man, I think you have a misunderstanding because of propaganda. And once again, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for too. Again, is to clear the stuff up. And if you have a clean heart, and like you said, if you're here for education and the right reason, I think you will get everything you want.
Yeah. There's so much literature to put you on the right course. It's never too late to get yourselves and put your ship in the right direction, mentally, historically, spiritually, financially. These are all stages of life that we all have to master and just have a clearer understanding on. But Noble, we about an hour, Noble. So I was gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, I appreciate your Spirit Sheik jumping on, and all the other nobles who in the comments. Again, if anybody wants any books, please reach out to myself at Herbs of Mayat, HERBSOFMAAT at herbsofmayat.com. Leave us a message. You can email us as well at the Burning Bush tabernacle.ts@gmail. And I thank everyone for tapping in and jumping on. This is our Burning Bush Tabernacle Book Club. Work out with us if you want to check us out in the morning. We work out with Coach Malik, L. Reed. So we just, we got a lot going on. We just had our 5th annual meet and greet in Arizona. And I know myself, I'm looking at transitioning down there very, very soon. So
that's long.
Come meet us, come link with us in Arizona, link with us on our social media, link with us on YouTube, Facebook. Any serious scholar, leave us a message. Don't just be a fly on the wall. We don't need just followers. We're not looking for just cheerleaders. We're looking for people to bring their talents, bring their skills, bring their knowledge, and make our, continue to grow.
That's long, Noble. Gratitude for your time too.
Indeed. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yes, sir. See you tomorrow, man. Gratitude.
Peace, love, and light, Noble.
Peace.
I want love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice at least. I need it for all my peace because it just isn't me. Unbuckle the shackles up off your mind, you just been released. How can I get you to save yourself if I can't get you to think? Cause I am not this world and I can't